Hello everyone, Jabberwock here. Today I am presenting you this totally subjective and biased seasonal grinding spot top 10. But first I'd like to show you something. 8 months ago I created my seasonal archer and embarked on a long journey, a journey that most would deem crazy or perhaps simply inefficient, but not me. This goal of mine was to reach 1 million time-filled blackstones to then turn them into loot scrolls, which I didn't have many of. I created this account about a year ago, but only started this goal around the end of May 2024. It was by far the biggest goal I had ever set for myself in BDO. It was, after all, an 800 hours goal. This adventure was going to require additional motivation, and so I made a list of side objectives I would complete along the way. Among other things, I wanted to collect all the great Marnie stones, but also make a few treasure items. This top 10 doesn't account for any of these side goals. It will only focus on time-filled stones per hour, silver per hour, experience, and comfort. Fun is extremely subjective, so we won't touch on that aspect of grinding. I suggest that you look for what you find fun and use that as a paramount quality in finding where you will be grinding on season. With that out of the way, let's start this top 10. In 10th place, we have centaurs. I have no love for this spot, but I have to admit that it has its qualities. I give it a C for time stones. Oh, I forgot to mention how the ranking was going to be made. I will rank each spot in 4 ways. Time stones, silver, experience, and comfort. Each will get a grade ranging from C to S. I won't be giving you the exact numbers because they depend on your pets, your drop rate buffs, your class, etc. Just know that all of this is subjective and only reflect my opinion of each spot after trying them on my seasonal archer. So, as I was saying, C for time stones, A for silver, C for experience, and C for comfort. The low monster density impacts the amount of time stones and the comfort. The experience is low, and the only redeeming quality is the very high price and quantity of the trash the monsters drop. The trash is worth a lot, so it's best to use a level 2 loot scroll. It's also one of the best places to consume your agras on season. In 9th place, we have Jabberwock. I wanted to include at least one party grind spot for those who only like to grind with friends. C for time stones, B for silver, A for experience, and A for comfort. If you grind this place with 2 other players, the silver gets bumped to A and the experience to S. This spot is a party grind spot, meaning that for every monster you hit at least once, a pile of loot will drop for you once it dies. And that will apply for up to 3 players in your party, so with 2 other players, you will kill the monsters way faster, but still get 100% of the loot of each monster. With the proper optimization, this spot could even get S+ for experience. Low monster density makes it a bad spot for time stones, but the fact that it's a semi-stationary spot makes it comfortable on many classes. 8th place goes to one of my favorite. Too bad it kinda sucks. It's Proddies. B for time stones, B for silver, S for experience, and C for comfort. Other than Jabberwock, Proddies are the best season spot for experience. But that's about it. The trash drop is atrocious, both in value and in weight. It's an underwater cave on a remote island, so you will need many maids. There is a blacksmith to go repair if you don't own a tent, but he's at the entrance of the cave. If you have a tent and enough maids, the comfort gets bumped to A. As this spot is far, it's often empty and very peaceful, at least in my opinion. Gahaz takes the 7th place. Other than centaurs, it's your best option to use your agras on season. Just keep in mind that you'll want to use a level 1 loot scroll if you activate agras. Otherwise, use a level 2 loot scrolls if possible. I spent about 70 hours at this spot. It gets S for time stones, B for silver, B for experience, and A for comfort. High monster density feels good, the monsters are very squishy, and the elite spawns lots of monsters. This one is probably going to shock a few people, but let me explain. In 6th place, I put Blood Wolves. This spot gets A for time stones, S for silver, C for experience, and B for comfort. The reason why I don't put Blood Wolves higher in this top 10 is because it drops HP pot pieces. The HP pot requires you to either run dailies and weeklies in Kama Sylvia or the main quest line to receive Peridot leaves. You will need 300 per potion. I still give this spot S for silver because of the very high value of Kagtunak. But other than that, this spot sucks. The trash is very bad and heavy, the fossils and the scales are worthless, and it's quite often contested. If you have the proper setup and don't mind the Peridot leaf grind, this spot gets bumped to S+ for silver. Other than that, no entertaining mechanic and low experience. Halfway through this top 10, and I'm now presenting my favorite season spot to grind on Archer, Chira Ruins. It gets S for time stones, B for silver, C for experience, and B for comfort. This spot has the highest monster density in the entire game, meaning that when there is a grinding event like the Jewel of Illusion or the Christmas presents, you can expect a lot. The silver is low because this spot suffers from the same fate as Bloodwolves, low value and heavy trash, too many worthless items. The difference with Bloodwolves is that Chira monsters drop monopot pieces and they drop a lot of them. It is by far the easiest infinite potion spot. I grinded about 100 hours of it and got a total of 8 pot piece and about 950 pity pieces. If you can supplement this spot with an Atanus element spot, you will be able to make a lot of infinite mana potions. That's what I did. Honorable mention for the skill experience, this spot is the best spot in the game for skill points. Not that it matters anyway. Please Pearl Abyss, make skill points great again. In fourth, we have Mansham. In my opinion, this is the best spot to run your seasonal weekly at. You can run both the Mana Pot weekly and the Time Stone weekly, making it a staple for pretty much any player who may be running low on loot scrolls or simply need the Mansham pities to complete their infinite mana potion. I give Manshams A for Time Stones, A for Silver, C for Experience, and A for Comfort. With the current Forest Fury crisis, Mansham is a bit more crowded than usual. Hopefully once Dakia Miramok and Dakia Gyfin comes out, Manshams will be able to catch their breath. The density is pretty good. The trash is light and scales very well with a level 1 loot scroll. Between the large amount of Kafras, the Spirit Stones, the Forest Furies, and the Mana Pot pieces, this spot is very well rounded. The experience is the only downfall, but who needs levels anyway? Before getting into the top 3, let's give an honorable mention to Sherakan. The reason why this spot didn't make the top 10 is because it drops HP pot pieces and the monsters have quite a few CCs, making them a bit annoying on some classes. This spot has a unique mechanic. If you go there at night and interact with the giant grave, an elite will spawn. With the proper use of this mechanic, you can make very good money. The only problem is that it's only available at night, meaning that you can only grind Sherakan Night for 40 minutes every 3 hours and 20 minutes, as a full day in BDO lasts 4 hours. Nevertheless, you can combine Sherakan at night with Bloodwolves during the day. It'll net you the best silver per hour on season, but will require that you either grind Rhonoros, which isn't in this top 10 for multiple reasons, or you can add any spot that drops Atanus elements as a substitute for the Rhonoros potion piece. Talking about Atanus elements, I didn't mention that both Miramok and Prodis drop them, but as you'll see the next 3 spots also do, so feel free to combine different grind spots together to break the monotony. We start the top 3 strong with Cadres. This spot is extremely polyvalent. As I just mentioned, Cadres drop Atanus elements, but that's not all. The trash is worth a lot and is light, the monster density is great, the Cadre rings aren't worthless. You will get plenty of black stones and Kafras. The elite mechanic will swarm you with monsters, making it quite satisfying, at least in my opinion. Added to that, the Gatekeeper mechanic, which will also spawn monsters. And lastly, the Ancient Weapon Invasion. I haven't talked about the invasions yet, because out of the first 7 spots in this list, only Gahaz could spawn it. Invasions are a mechanic that is exclusive to Valencia, but not every Valencia spot has the same invasion rates. As far as I tested it, Gahaz, Cadres, Fogans, Nagas, and Bashims have the best odds of triggering this event. It'll swarm you with ancient weapons that drop a large amount of time stones and other goodies. Cadre is already a very good spot for time stones, but when you account for the invasion event, you get S+ for time stones, A for silver, B for experience, and A for comfort. The only reason why I didn't give Kadri's an S for comfort is because this spot only has 3 proper rotations, maybe 4 at most, making it very easily contested. Luckily, people haven't caught up on how good it really is, at least up until now, sorry Grim. Now, an all-time favorite of everybody, in second we have Polly's. There isn't much to say about Polly's other than that this spot should be ranked first. The only reason it isn't is because of how crowded it can get. It gets an S for time stones, A for silver, S for experience, and A for comfort. Being in Kama Sylvia, the invasion event won't spawn, but even without it, you can still expect a lot of time stones. The monster density is really nice, and the spot is comfy on every class. The experience is top tier, and the silver is very acceptable. The trash is light and scales very well. With level 1 or level 2 loot scrolls, you will get a lot of Atanus elements, Caphras and Spirit Stones. Sadly, no Forest Furies. And finally, we have the spot where I spent the most time during this 1 million time stone goal. It's Fogans, or I should say Desert Fogans. This spot gets the first place over Poly for one simple reason: nobody ever goes there. I spent about 300 hours at the same rotation and never ever encountered any player. I grinded on Arsha's season for the total duration of this 1 million stone goal, and whenever I'd want to simply grind and not worry about switching to PvP crystals, etc., I'd just go to Fogans. I give it S+ for time stones, A for silver, A for experience, and C for comfort. You must be thinking, what are you saying, Jabber? Why give it C if you went there for comfort? Simply because you absolutely need a tent and maids to grind there. Desert Fogans are, well, in the desert, far from any blacksmith or storage keeper. But if you have an archaeologist map, about 10 maids and a tent, this spot gets bumped to S+ for comfort. And with that, we conclude this video of my top 10 grinding spots on season. I prioritize time stones and comfort in this list because that's what I valued most during this goal. It is up to you to find what you want to accomplish on season, may it be just for a day or for a year. Remember that not everything you do must be the most efficient use of your time. I suggest that you worry less about opportunity cost and more about the direction you are working toward. Take it one step at a time, and just like me, one day you'll be a million steps away from where you started. Thank you for watching this video until the end. I truly appreciate it. If you are curious about what the next chapter of my BDO adventure will be, subscribe to my channel and wait to see how inefficient and overkill my future goals will be. Until then, have a fun time in Black Desert Online.